Last game of the day, we're going to squeeze it in right here. We would usually do an orange cast, but considering the circumstances, the 8-4 circumstances, Tennessee hosts Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt comes ready to fight. Loses 24-48. There's a ton of conversation here, and we could get lost on the little things about the potential sack totals for Pierce, Vanderbilt emptying their bench. I'll just say this. I'm glad Joe got to play as long as he did. I'm glad he had a day. I'm glad a lot of our seniors had a day, including Ramel Keaton. You need to let Joe play the bowl game. You know what? He wasn't Hendon. I think people said they didn't expect him to be Hendon, but they placed Hendon expectations on him subconsciously. The guy has been faithful to the university since his arrival. He lost the job. He's done all the right things. He's said all the right things. I think he's been a man of character in his time here. He's had fun with it. You know what? You pissed me off after the Florida game, but Joe, thank you. You're a VFL dude. Appreciate it. I know that you're never going to hear this because who are we? But I hope you go into this bowl game and I hope you get the chance to throw 6 scores and no picks and 400 yards, and you have a long NFL career, man.
Yeah. I hope that he has I hope he has such a successful bowl game that he does end up, taking his seat somewhere in the third or fourth quarter. That's the way I want it to go for him. I've got minor issues about the Nico handling and just situations where he could have played this year. I'm not going to say fire a coach or, oh my God, what is Heupel thinking or any of that stuff. I am jacked for the seniors. They had a very nice senior day. It's always nice for Tennessee. You don't have the game or the Iron Bowl if you're Tennessee, because Vanderbilt's never going to be that again. They're never going to be their success of 100 years ago. It's not going to happen. So it's nice to have a stress-free senior day when, Tennessee's handling business. Obviously, they've lost the game a few too many times, but happy for everyone on the team. I mean, the tight ends, that they had a big day, including a touchdown for Warren. Joe, obviously stoked. Jalen Wright did enough to get himself 1,000 yards. I'm shocked that it comes in year 3 when the offensive line started the year the way that it did. That is Heupel's first 1,000-yard rusher at Tennessee. Not surprised at all that it's Jalen Wright, and by all indications, the work that he put in leading into the season, how good he looks week in and week out. He is set right now to enter the league with probably the least amount of mileage for any running back that gets picked, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
And I think all those things,
considering the context of accomplishment as far as yards go and whatnot. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a great point. Yeah.
The carries, the hits, the mileage, just sheer yardage numbers. I think that all sets up well for him. We don't talk about it this way, but it sets up for the way that Alvin Kamara entered the league with not getting the number of touches that he needed. And that's probably true for Jalen too, but it obviously was, in this case, being split between 3 guys and not just 2. And, wasn't handicapping your offense straight up like it was in 2016 and 15.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's a great point. I also wanted to touch on Jalen Wright and celebrate his accomplishments for going over 1,000. The one small narrative that I wanted to get into was Dylan Sampson, and a lot of people are upset with the handling of Dylan Sampson. I want to get into that, and I wanted to get into Joe and Nico. So let me make 2 points, and you kind of tell me what you think.
Okay.
Fans are upset with the handling of Dylan, and they're upset with the handling of Nico. All right, coming out of this game, if we're solely looking at Vanderbilt, Dylan had 1 less carry than Jalen. Had 1 less touch. 1 less touch. Okay, so maybe those don't go to Jabari Small for health or other reasons, whatever. 1 less touch. And he just didn't do what Jalen did. I mean, you had 10 carries for 37 as opposed to 11 for 75.
Yeah.
And one of your carries was 9 yards. So all the other ones were not really good, man. Unless it's, what Butch Jones would call a what did he call a 4-yard carry? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, I do, but I can't remember.
Anyway, so take with that what you will. Like And if he's messing around with the fan base on Instagram and social media, dude, you have no idea what bear you're poking. You need to chill out. So I would just say it to the fans, like he had one less touch. What more do you want? Jalen Wright went for 1,000. Are you going to take those carries away from him? No, he's obviously RB1. Leave it alone.
And not only did he go for 1,000, he went for 1,000 on just 50 more carries. Just 50.
Compared to Dylan?
Yeah, just 50. Sampson had 86. Wright had 137. 51 carries and 530 or so less yards. 10 less yards per carry, if you will. The only thing he benefited from on these carries is the touchdown number. It's nice. He got the treatment when Jabari or Jalen tap their helmet. He comes in around the 20.
Wow. So there you go. That's a great stat that illuminates a lot. And I think I haven't seen the numbers, but I'm guessing that he's got a good amount more than Jabari.
No, he does actually have 9 less than Jabari.
Whoa. Okay. Well,
Jabari. So it goes like
I'm
this.
an idiot.
It goes 137 for Jalen, 95 for Small, 86 for Sampson. And he did a little bit more per carry. He did a half yard more per carry than Small did, but they both did 2 yards less per carry than Jalen Wright did.
Okay. All right. Well, fair enough. Well, let me move on to Nico and Joe then, since I've been proved wrong right there.
I got one more thing before we go real quick.
Go ahead.
Just sheerly talking about Sampson and his usage. Now, I think the dip in usage after Kentucky, that's weird to me because he wins you that game when Jalen can't go in the second half. He wins you. He does enough for the offense to move the ball up and down the field. That's the only thing I have. That's my only issue.
I'm not going to say he won that game because, yes, that game, that drive solidified things, but that drive didn't win the game. There's a lot more fair in that context. There's a ton more in that context. His drive was outstanding. Okay,
Kamara.
That solidified it. Yes, but I'm not going to say that won the game by any stretch.
That was just a lead in for me. I'm with you. That's fair.
Okay,
it solidified the win for you. It didn't win it for you.
Gotcha.
Now you want to talk about him receiving. Okay, he has the same number of receptions as Chaz Nimrod. He has more than Jacob Warren. Due to Brew's injury, he's got the same number of catches as Brew McCoy. Slightly less than Jalen, McAllen Castles, about half the number of Ramel Keaton. Similar yardage as all of those guys because you're catching it on a check down or what have you. Still found the end zone through the air, obviously back in the Virginia game, but there's not much of a bone to pick there. The guys actually should like the mileage and being low. I'm talking about the players themselves, not only the league when the time comes, if it does, but this is clearly an NIL ploy. This is all it is. I think this is what the game is in 2022.
Maybe, and that sucks if it is.
Yep.
Nico and Joe. So a lot of people are upset with Nico didn't get enough. Yada yada yada. Can Heupel manage a quarterback room? Yada yada yada. He was going to start Joe in 21. Yada yada yada. Let's compare that. Let's compare Hendon and Joe 2021 and Joe and Nico 2023. Not the same. Joe and Hendon both come in the offseason going into the 21 season. Heupel is brand new. To Tennessee. He's brand new to Tennessee, not a brand new head coach. I have a little bit more grace on Joe winning that job under Heupel. We've talked about maybe Hendon not being a practice player, whatever. Once Hendon got the job, there was no turning around and looking back at Joe on Heupel's part. I'll tell you that much at least. And now you go to 2023, Joe and Nico. Joe's been there for how long? He knows the system how well. He's got what kind of relationship with Heupel? But Nico's got $8 million. Shut up. Maybe he doesn't know the playbook. Maybe he doesn't have. Has he been working with the ones the way Joe has? Probably not. There's so many factors. I just can't stand the people who think that this is Madden. Just swap the depth chart and everything. It doesn't work this way. There is a chemistry that is built between Q's and center, Q's and offensive line as a unit, Q's and receiving core, Q's in backfield on timing and so many different things. You know what? There is a bit of a risk when you make a quarterback change. Should he have played more than he had? Yes. Why play Gaston? I don't get it. Are you just trying to be kind to Gaston? Are you trying to show that you really are faithful to the individuals that make up the team? But there's no comparison between Nico and Joe. Nico, the time that he got, even though it was extremely limited, and he got most of it against Vanderbilt, if I'm wrong, didn't really do anything. I mean, he had a broke tackle where he converted it to a first down, but you know what? You're assuming that Nico knows all the things that Joe knows, and he doesn't. He doesn't. You're assuming that he's got the same relationship and chemistry, and he doesn't. So it's just not a fair comparison to go back and say Hendon Joe 21, Nico Joe 23.
I am more than with you. I'm just basically the same. I just wish I saw more early. No, okay, I can't say earlier. And it's hard to ask for more with the first team offensive line because the first team offensive line was a rotating five later in the season when health really came into play, when John Campbell was banged up, when Gerald Mincy has been playing through injury.
Dude, that's another point.
We saw Cooper Mays leave the game Saturday.
Yeah, that's another point. It's not. He's he's working with a hodgepodge offensive line. Do you want him to get broken?
And that's the thing. When you saw him against Virginia, that's probably maybe the cleanest group that he got to play with. I don't really remember. You saw him against UTSA; they could barely keep anybody off of him. UConn, he got a drive, 2 drives. I don't even know, they were so bad. And then you saw against Vanderbilt, and I'm with you. That's the most that we saw of him probably, because it was an entire quarter minus the last 2 plays of the game. I don't know, 3 plays of the game. Yeah, look, it's all good. I don't think he gave you the best chance to win. The only thing you'd have been doing is getting him ready for 2024, which is needed and is fair. But you now have 15 bowl practices. You've got 15 spring practices. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then you've got a full month starting in August, ending with another practice against UT Chattanooga to get him ready for the 2024 season. You probably need to find here's an impossible task for you. Go find a transfer that is okay with probably being his backup, probably never taking first-team reps. You're asking someone to be Joe Milton 2022 is what you're asking someone to do. Yeah. And you're probably not going to find somebody that's as good as he was for you in 2022. Garbage time, as solid as above average as he's been in 2023. Mm-hmm. Good luck finding someone to be that guy so that if Nico does get hurt or whatever, you're going to be entering Gaston Moore. If he's here, Jake Merklinger as a true freshman, that's what you're going to be doing. Impossible task. I don't think you can do that. It's going to be somebody like Keller Christ at best, except he was competing for the job. That was the name
that came to my mind. Yeah.
He was competing for the job, and he got time with the job. I mean, just good luck doing that. The thing is, like I just said, it's all hands on deck every single minute. In my mind, including the bowl practices, even though Joe will be starting that game, is all going to be about 2024 going forward. And like I just said, week 1 included, where you get to get ready for NC State because you're going to be playing UTC.
Right. And last thing, and we'll end the segment. You're assuming that, hang on, from this point, he's going to be able to preserve his red shirt. And then people are saying, well, he's only going to be here 3 years anyway. No, that's an assumption. That is an assumption. You're assuming he's going to live up to this $8 million deal. You're assuming he's going to live up to a 5-star status. You know what? He might just be good enough to be the starter, but not good enough to get a good draft grade come post 2027, whatever it is. So you know what?
2025?
You don't know everything, y'all. You don't know. You're assuming you do, but you don't. So do I think he's going to be good? Yes. Am I saying is he going to be elite? Man, who knows?
Hope so.
Hope so. Hey, but nonetheless, little brother came to town and we whipped that tail. Something to like, I'm not even like looking at the score anymore. 56-24. All big orange.